The beach at Normandy, the bridge on the River Kwai, James Bond movies. So many good things that the British have been involved in. So what the hell happened here? Let's drive the 2012 Aston Martin Vantage Roadster and check the ill-conceived, poorly executed, overpriced tech. So what is an Aston Martin Vantage? It's the smallest Aston Martin. It's a handmade car, and this one's a Roadster. We've got a cloth power top, nothing too tricky, not a metal retractable, but it works well, gets out of the way, and leaves you with a small but usable trunk. So if the looks of this car are all it's got going for it, let me show you all the things it doesn't have going for it. Starting with that, the insult. Who the hell puts that in a car like this? This tells me one of two things. Either Aston Martin is so stupid they don't know that that is a horrendous interface, or they're sneering at their customers saying, oh, give them their little screen like their little iPhone gadget. Technology is not a gadget anymore, guys. It's central to your product. Now, this little helper display does all your media and telephony. It's glare-filled, very small, and rams an awful lot into a small place. My climate control status, outdoor temperature, phone status, where are the winds blowing, do I have Dolby PL2 on, and my source and content readouts. You can do Bluetooth calls in this car, but that's optional. I mean, after all, it's only 136 grand. Let's not throw in the Bluetooth. You won't be streaming Bluetooth stereo audio because that's simply not available. So go ahead and put your phone down here in the phone cradle, except it won't fit. And then there's this. What is this? I have no idea. I scoured the manual. I tried fitting it everywhere. It doesn't really fit anywhere. It might just be a sex toy the last reviewer left here. This is called the trinket holder. In other words, this is where you put your wedding ring when you're out at the bar cruising for cougars. Behind here are some strange little binnacles. There's one behind me here that has the world's crappiest toolkit, and then there's one over here that goes to nothing. Oh, check this out. Very nice, fancy cigarette lighter holder, except it's not. It's the wrong diameter. Apparently, that's a special custom holder for a Lamy brand pen, which the last reviewer apparently stole. Now, Aston does this bizarro thing with transmission and key. They make this obsessively fancy crystal key. They also have something called the emotion controller. It's right here in the manual. They don't tell you what it is, and as far as I know, it's a unicorn. You put this thing in to start the car and hold it down, and then the world's strangest transmission controller. Reverse, start, neutral, drive, in this weird sort of layout with the key in the middle. Once you get the car up and running, you look over to your instrument panel, you look at your gauges, and you get mad. Look at the fuel gauge or the temperature gauge. They use white markings on a bright aluminum bezel. You can't read the markings in any conditions. So all I can tell is that I'm somewhere between full and empty. The speedometer goes to 220. The car goes to 180. You'll be going to maybe 100. So why waste all that space on the gauge, making it impossible to tell if I'm going 55? The best I can tell is I'm in between 40 and 60. The tachometer goes counterclockwise. Does anything else in the Western world increase going counterclockwise? The final insult in this vehicle as you prepare to pull away is that you really don't fit. We have the top down for shooting the video, but I'd still have the top down, even in the rain, because that's the only way I fit in this car. This car is for little men. Before we hit the road, let's check out the engine bay where the story does brighten considerably. This is one beautiful motor. It's a real engine. It's made of real engine parts. I'm not seeing tons of plastic shrouds everywhere. 4.7-liter V8, as you can see. 420 horsepower, about 346 foot-pounds of torque. Gets this 3,700-pound car to 60 in about 4.7 seconds while delivering 1421 mpg. Bad enough to earn you a $1,300 gas guzzler tax. However, the weight of this car is actually pretty svelte, given what it is. Part of that's from what you see in here. In the engine bay, you can pick up on the aluminum, magnesium, the bonded construction, some steel panels, all kinds of different construction technologies put this car together. And it's really quite impressive from that aspect. So So here's where the real trouble with this car arises: when you drive it. Remember, we have this 6-speed dual-clutch automated manual transmission, apparently dating from the 90s. It's a piece of crap. The car falls flat on its face between every gear. I don't care if you're heavy on the throttle, light on the throttle, barely on the throttle, middle on the throttle. Self-shifting on the paddles, regular mode, sport mode. This thing drives like a 15-year-old learning to drive a stick. It's a disaster. The brutal shame is this car handles really well, and I think it's got a great engine. I have no idea. I can't get to the engine because this crap gearbox is completely in the way. I'm just really shocked this car was approved for production, and I'm being quite honest. Put the car in sport mode here. It does remap the throttle so you get more aggressive acceleration. It supposedly unleashes more torque. I'm not sure what it does there. Maybe it remaps the valve train. And it also opens up some valving in the exhaust system to give it a real throat. Now, as you can see, this car rides like a truck, and there is no suspension settings on it. It's just the suspension. Sporty, really hard. So herein lies a broken car, which for $100 and something thousand is inexcusable. And I know this car is handmade and that counts for something, I guess. But in this day and age, it's no longer quaint to have things that creak and rattle, and have weird wind noise back here. That's just not funny anymore. It's not charming. Let's price this Vantage Roadster about $140,000 with delivery of $2,100 and gas guzzler tax of $1,300. Then there are some options. $750 for Bluetooth. Really? I'm pretty sure I'm reading the option sheet right that navigation thingy is $2,700. Who priced this stuff? Henny Youngman? Now, save yourself $5,000 by getting rid of that Soviet-era gearbox and going with the standard 6-speed manual. The other thing we have is the $1,600 Aston Martin Premium Sound. It sounds pretty good. I can't imagine you want to step up $8,300 more to the Bang & Olufsen system in an open car.